This is the best moments of the Barbecue Central show in 10 minutes or less. Ever wish you could re-listen to your favorite interview or segment? Do you enjoy hearing older shows for the first time in years? Then the best moments of the Barbecue Central show in 10 minutes or less is just what you need. Thanks for listening and enjoy the show.
Greetings, everyone. Welcome to yet another edition of the best moments of the Barbecue Central show in 10 minutes or less. Today's show is being brought to you by Crawford's Barbecue Pit Products. Check out all their awesome pit products over at crawfordsbbq.com. What's up for today? We're going back to January 14th in 2014. Greg pays a visit with Meathead from AmazingRibs.com. Meathead is filling you in on a couple of Asian-inspired pork rib recipes. Second segment today, food blogger John Thomas from Grilling 24/7 is in. He's got a couple great recipes for you as well. Here we go. Let's get to it. Here's Greg and Meathead from January 14th, 2014.
This one,
yeah,
because that's where the camera
These
is.
look really good. These look really good.
Aren't they beautiful? That's
yes.
my attempt at Chinese ribs, and that is Chinatown char siu ribs, I call them, and the recipe is on my website, AmazingRibs.com, and I slaved long and hard and make a batch, taste it, hustle down to the Chinese restaurants, taste theirs, hustle back. And I've come pretty close. And I've learned a lot about the process. It is not barbecue by any stretch of the American definition. Any stretch. In China, it is often cooked with charcoal. But in the United States, it's almost always cooked with a gas oven.
Yeah.
It's this big gas oven. Actually, oh dear, what number is next? Now that I'm out of
number two
improvising.
Yeah, it's this big vessel-looking thing.
Yeah, where is that? That's it.
Yep.
That's it.
The
that
Sunhua
is,
oven.
One of the ovens that they use at Sunhua, and the door swings open, and the food hangs. It's like the pit barrel. The food hangs in this pit barrel barbecue. There you go. There's some pork loins. And tenderloins, actually. I think those are tenderloins. And, Greg, you know the difference now, don't you?
I do now.
It's a running joke, folks. If you don't know it, we won't get into it. Those are pork tenderloins. And it gets a smoke ring. But it's not from smoke.
No. It's from Tender Quick.
No.
No?
No.
Uh-oh.
Let's see if anybody in the chat room. Go ahead, guys, in the chat room. How do they get the red smoke ring? Come on, type it in, somebody.
They serve raw meat, Meathead.
No. It's a food coloring. It's just red food dye. It's red food coloring.
What?
And it's sometimes a beet extract. It's sometimes a red bean, azuki type beans, and sometimes it's just red food coloring, which often comes from the cochineal, which is an insect.
Nice.
Yeah, well, it's natural. It's natural. You're eating bugs, the juice of bugs, at least. But it's a red food coloring, and they get a really neat smoke ring, and you've seen it. And I'm thinking, let's go to slide 4.
All right, here we go. Oh,
yeah.
Now what a great picture this is. It makes me want to grab a beer or a fine white wine and just get after it.
And that's from the same recipe
as
the ribs. I didn't use the sesame oil, and I used a little less coloring. But that's pork loin, not tenderloin. And what they do is they have a marinade. Now, if you've done any Chinese cooking or if you like Chinese food, there's a few cornerstone flavors. And one of the reasons I gotta go back to why I suggested we talk about this.
Yes, please.
Because during the Polar Express last week,
forget it.
I cooked out only once. I wimped out. I just did not want to be out there very much, and I cooked indoors. And this is a great recipe for indoors because you can do it both outdoors. You can do it on your smoker. You can do it on your grill. And you can do it in your indoor oven. And if you're just dying for some good ribs, And this is a really neat variation on the theme that you can do with either spares, St. Louis cut, baby backs. Some Chinese restaurants, they use baby backs. Some of them, they take the spares and they slice them in half, so they're like little riblets. You can do that if you got a bandsaw in your basement.
Who doesn't?
But the flavors are really typical Chinese. What we call Chinese flavors are usually based on toasted sesame oil. And if you see sesame oil that's pale or yellow, that means it's not toasted. It's just a plain old vegetable oil. Toasted sesame oil is brown, and it doesn't take much. A few drops of it. And just for the fun of it, if you don't have any, go get some and smell it. Because the minute you smell it, you're in Chinatown, you're in a Chinese restaurant. And a few drops of it in mayonnaise is really good on a chicken sandwich or chicken salad. It really takes mayonnaise into a wonderful direction. And you can use it in a lot of things, but it's really potent. Just a few tiny drops of toasted sesame oil is all you need. And that's a really distinctive Chinese flavor. Another really distinctive Chinese flavor that's in this marinade is hoisin sauce.
Yeah.
And hoisin sauce, some people call it Chinese ketchup. It has no tomatoes. The reason they call it Chinese ketchup is it's very common. And if you've ever had mushu pork, that brown stuff that you spread on the pancake, that's hoisin sauce. Now, you can buy char siu, which is Chinese barbecue sauce, but I don't recommend it. It's better to make your own blend, because the Chinese char siu is really thick and gummy, and it's really only good as a glaze, and it doesn't bear a resemblance to the barbecue flavor that we're going to get with a recipe like this. So hoisin sauce is at the base of a lot of Chinese restaurants, and it's a fermented soybean and vinegar and salt and rice wine and garlic and chili. It's got all kinds of good stuff in it. One of the other cornerstone flavors of Asian cooking is 5-spice powder, and it's got 5 spices.
Yeah.
Cinnamon, cloves, star anise, fennel, and Sichuan peppercorns. And it's really easy to make. You can just get those 5 ingredients, grind them up, and it's expensive to buy, but if you cinnamon, cloves, star anise, fennel, Sichuan peppercorns, grind them up, and you can make it yourself. I've got the rough proportions in a recipe on my website. And then the other cornerstone flavor of Chinese is soy sauce or tamari. And of course, that's fermented soybeans and other grains. And I wanted to, there's a slide there, Greg. I don't know if you've had a chance to
Yeah, the one that tells you the ingredients in soy sauce.
8B soy. For years we've been saying, well, you got a nice little background. Oh, I kind of liked the background there, but that's good. For those of you who can see this, there's 2 packets of Chinese restaurant carry-out soy sauce there. And if you can read the ingredients, the one on the left, the Li Kung Ki, contains the third ingredient, water, salt, soybeans. The one on the right, no soybeans. Huh. It's just brown liquid. You can read it's the bottom. The one in the black. You got the zoom going. Yeah. You got the technology this week. Yeah. Last week was kind of rough, wasn't it?
Water, salt, caramel color, sugar, monosodium glutamate,
monosodium glutamate,
1% sodium benzenate for preservative.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
but there's no soy sauce. There's no soybeans involved. So when you buy soy sauce, you want to get look at the label. Now, of course, Kikkoman and Li Kum Ki are the 2 big brands in this country, and those are good brands. But watch that, and you can use the leftovers from the Chinese carryout that you ordered on Tuesday. But check first to make sure it's soy sauce, because often it isn't. So in any case, those are the cornerstone flavors. And I've got most of those in there. Also in a lot of Chinese dishes, you got ginger, honey, garlic. And they use honey as a barbecue sauce a lot. It's just a glaze. It goes on in the end. And It really is a lot of fun. And if you haven't got a good Chinese cookbook, it's a fun thing to play with, particularly in the cold weather. But my recipe, and there was another ribs. I have 2 rib recipes, Chinese rib recipes. Let's see, hoisin ribs, number 5.
Okay, yeah, I think I just had that up. Give me 1 second.
That's right. Number 5, and that's nice.
Oh, wait. Here we go. This is the one. I got to get the other picture out of the way. Oh, damn it, Meathead. Damn it.
There you go.
Where is it? Oh, there it is. Okay, there we go.
Well, yeah, it's in the background.
Sweet now.
That's good. This is my hoisin ribs. And this is a slightly different approach and recipe. And it's got a kind of a brownish color, but it's really quite tasty. And it's really nice with chopped green onions on top and some sesame seeds. Fun stuff for the pork lovers out there.
To put in your request for a future show, please contact John Solberg via email at johnjon@thebbqcentralshow.com.
Hey, before we get into the second segment, let me take a minute to tell you about Crawford's Barbecue Pit Spritz. Pit Spritz is all natural and gluten-free. Pit Spritz keeps your meat super moist during the cooking process. The peach Pit Spritz adds an amazing sweet peach taste to your barbecue. It's great on all meats and it does exceptionally well on pork. All you need to do is screw the included trigger sprayer onto the 16-ounce bottle and you're ready to go. Get all the details on Crawford's Pit Spritz. Head on over to crawfordsbbq.com. Be sure you use the coupon code GREG at checkout. You will save 10% off your entire order. That's Greg, G-R-E-G.
My first guest in the second hour, a very successful blogger. You can find him by visiting grilling24by7. That's grilling24by7.com. A first-timer to this show. Excited to have him on. Let's go ahead and race over the hotline and welcome in John Thomas to the show. John, how are you, buddy?
How are you doing, buddy?
Doing absolutely fabulous, John. Appreciate you making time for the show tonight. And, to start, I guess, I actually met John in person at the very first Kingsford Invitational in the middle of nowhere, Missouri. John, recount me the highlights and lowlights now almost 2 years away from that event. For me, the highlight, of course, the Budweiser tour and luncheon, hands down. But as you reflect back on that Kingsford Invitational inaugural event, some great things that you liked and some things you thought could have been tweaked right off the bat.
Well, let's see. I think the thing I liked the best was, as you pointed out, the Budweiser stuff. I mean, they treated us pretty well. I remember the Budweiser chefs were making all these meals and pairing it with, surprisingly, just the Budweisers and other types of beers that I normally wouldn't have gone for. I thought they really treated us well in that respect. It was also great to have, some of the samples straight from the competition teams. That was, you can't beat that. I don't know if there's any lowlights. I mean, what could be bad about, tons of beer, tons of barbecue, hanging out with you guys? That was pretty good. I guess the only negative would be they didn't invite us all back next year.
All right, John, so let's talk about you here just for a second. If the people aren't familiar with grilling247.com, a little background about you, and is this, live fire grilling thing that you're into, something that you have been around? Did you grow up with a family that liked to do this, or is this something that has become more of an affinity for you later in life?
I think it came later in life. I've always enjoyed food, always enjoyed eating, but the cooking kind of came after school. I was, always interested in science, doing all that kind of stuff all through school, and I think it was just natural to go right into cooking. I came about it a little late in life, I guess, but, cooking is science. There's tinkering, there's measuring, there's experimenting, especially when you try to add some fire, meat, all that stuff. I'm totally on board. So, part of the tinkering is I just started writing HTML one day. I was like, look at this, I can make the computer screen green. I was just so basic. And then all of a sudden I started learning tables and, writing a blog. And, then I found out about food photography and then the grilling and just everything exponentially went up. So basically, as you pointed out, I write a food blog. I try to keep it basic. I try to keep it with, simple recipes that people can follow. You just need some basic charcoal grilling skills. I focus on charcoal. If you can do direct heat cooking, indirect heat cooking, you should be able to follow anything I do. Especially getting into. I do a little smoking on the website, but I think most of it's focused on grilling.
You have a bacon guacamole burger. So is this something where it was just like you said? Clint was like, "Hey, we need something for an avocado," and you were struck with some passion and some vision.
Well, no, that wasn't through Clint. I think I just came up with that one because I was in this big guacamole kick. Who doesn't like guacamole?
Oh.
And I must have saw somewhere, hey, put it on a burger. Because that's, part of what I was saying was I like to keep things simple. So if you look at that recipe, it's literally you make a guacamole, you put some bacon on it, and you have a nicely seasoned, well-cooked burger. Well, those simple flavors, they just work so well together, especially if you present it right and, you have a toasted roll and things like that. It's just, you can really make something special if you have simple ingredients, if you just put them all together right. So that's kind of what I'm focused on.
Yeah, I was going to say, as I'm coming to read about the blog a little bit more, and of course I follow you on Twitter, and I'm always interested to see what you're saying, but there seems to be a theme with the Grilling 24/7 blog and your vision, which is, not to get like too super intricate, where it's going to be, you have to be like at a certain level in order to participate with you. It's simple stuff. It's not a lot of ingredients, or if there are a lot of ingredients, they're not super hard to find or to incorporate into the recipe. But it's like doing a little something extra with the simpleness to raise it up another level. Like you just said, toasting a bun instead of just leaving it untoasted.
Absolutely. I just posted a couple weeks ago. I had a jerked chicken wing recipe, and it was kind of odd to write it up because I think there was like 20 ingredients. I usually don't do things like that, but it was orange juice, and it was this intense jerk marinade that had some fantastic flavors in it. But I was looking at it, thinking, I like to keep things simple, and here I'm entering in, let's see, what's this, the 12th ingredient, 13th ingredient.
So as I said, I'm looking at the site, and I see there's a bunch of recipes, and it's well thought out, and how you kind of lay out step by step for everybody. But we have a huge football game coming up here sooner than later, and there was a couple recipes that I wanted to ask you about specifically, and I think these would be really good options for people to at least attempt if you're going to be holding some type of a Super Bowl party. And the first thing, I love gyros. When I was at OU going down, that's Ohio University for people who don't know, not Oklahoma, because I'm from Ohio. One of the best gyro, hole-in-the-wall little places ever on the face of the earth. You have this thing called bratwurst gyro. What is it about, and how do you put it together?
Well, that's interesting. Now, I'm glad you said gyro, because as I write this, in my mind, I just say gyro. Oh, no. But, I don't know how you're supposed to say it, but as writing, it doesn't matter. But I'm glad you said that. So I'm going to say gyro. There we go. I've always, it all started. Everybody's a big fan of Good Eats, and I'm watching Alton Brown, and he had this phenomenal, lamb mixture on a rotisserie spinning, and I thought, I've got to do that. Where I live, I live near a major city, Baltimore. I've had a lot of trouble finding ground lamb. So much trouble, in fact, that I gave up. I couldn't find it. So on my to-do list was, I want to make these gyros. So, I was thinking about it, like, is there any way to do this? And then the guys at Johnsonville, they posted a recipe called a gyro sub, and they had a bratwurst with, some feta and this cucumber-based sauce called a tzatziki sauce. And I thought, well, wow, they did the sub, and all they have to do is slice it differently and put it on a pita, and you've really got yourself a simple gyro. So the way I did this was you just simply grill brats. The typical bratwurst. No need for beer flavored or anything like that. Just typical brat. Cook it, let it come, bring it inside and cool it. You want to slice it lengthwise, and that's a little hard to show while I'm on the phone, but you slice it the long way. So you have these long slivers. Well, if you look at that bratwurst, it kind of has the consistency, it has the look of that authentic lamb mix, right? It has that look. So you slice that up, you sit it on a warmed pita, you put some sliced onions, some tomato, and then you make up you can either make it or you can buy it. It's up to you. This cucumber-based sauce. Well, this is a pretty darn good representation of a gyro, if you ask me. Now, if you're gonna go up to a Greek guy and say, "Hey, what do you think of this?" They're gonna laugh in your face. But if you can't find lamb, this is the most simplistic. Everybody can grill a brat, right? It's the most easy to do way to get a gyro. So, excuse me, gyro.
I'll let it slide this time, John.
Okay,
I'm showing the pictures of it here as we're talking from your website, and it does look incredibly simple but incredibly tasty. And people in my family are huge fans of that cucumber cream sauce that go on the gyros as well.
I love
so
it, yeah.
it looks absolutely fantastic. The other thing that I wanted to ask you about, something huge for any party, doesn't have to be Super Bowl for me, it can be anything, is buffalo chicken dip. And you kind of stepped it up a notch with this buffalo chicken fatty recipe. Where did you come up with this one?
Yeah, this is really, I really like this. And in fact, I was reading over this a couple days ago, and I thought I got to do this weekend. So everybody's done these fatties, right? You get your smoker and you buy this what's it, like one of those big logs of breakfast sausage, and you smoke that, and that's your fatty. And then people have taken it up a couple notches by wrapping it in bacon weaves and doing all these exotic things.
Yep.
So, I think they made the news being called bacon explosions and things like that. Well, this is a pretty cool modification on that. So basically, you make this bacon weave. So you got to Google how to do that. That's to be honest, I had to ask my wife how to make the weave for the longest time, but I think I finally got it now. So you make this bacon weave, and then you take about 2 or 3 very large boneless, skinless chicken breasts, and you pound them flat. So you get a nice, even, thin consistency. And then on top of that pounded flat chicken breast, you put some sauteed garlic, some hot sauce, some blue cheese crumbles, and some Parmesan cheese.
Yeah.
Well, then you finagle that, or if you're clever, you can do it on top of the bacon weave. You put all that chicken, the flat mixture, on top of this bacon weave, and you roll it up, and then you smoke it. And maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours later, it's going to be done. You start brushing it with either a barbecue sauce or a hot sauce, and you've got this, it looks like a torpedo that's in a bacon weave, and on the inside is just this rolled, thinly pounded chicken with a blue cheese, garlic, hot sauce mixture. It's out of control. It's really good.
And there you go, from January 14th, 2014, Meathead from AmazingRibs.com. John Thomas from Grilling 24/7. Link in the show notes, take you to this full episode. There's a lot more information there for you. You're going to want to check it out, I guarantee you. Thanks so much to Crawford's Barbecue Pit Products for sponsoring this show today. Please check them out over at crawfordsbbq.com. Don't forget, save 10% off your entire order by using the code GREG at checkout. GREG. Thanks so much for listening. Until next time, I am your host, John Solberg. I look forward to talking to you again soon.